Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to yet another session of Asset Lecture. We are lucky to have Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan, a very eminent professor in his field. He's a National Research Professor at Ayush. He's a highly cited and most influential biomedical and traditional medicine researcher. He's an elected fellow of the National Academy of Science and National Academy of Medical Sciences in India. He's a distinguished professor at Savitribai Phule Pune University and adjunct professor at Western Sydney University, Australia. He's a member of the Lesson Citizen Commission on Remaining India's Health System and a senior consultant at WHO Geneva, a widely published author. He's here to talk today about his recently published book, Genome to Home. And I'm welcome here on behalf of
Yeah, thank you, Professor Parag. First, let me give you on behalf of, I just have one copy, but I thought that I'll just
No problem. I'll give it
give to you.
library so everybody can read.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I request Professor to please start.
Thank you. And so good to see Dr. Vidita also here. She could just make it, and thanks for coming here. So the subject today we are going to talk, or I'm going to really talk, I'm going to keep it a little informal. Genome to Home, actually, the title itself raises so many questions that what is it going to be? And although I am a student of science and I am now in the really the one of the most revered temple of knowledge founded by Dr. Homi Bhabha, who also had taught us that science and art should go together. And that's what I could see in the corridor, beautiful paintings Dr. Parag showed me. And so when this book was released in Delhi on 4th of September, I wanted this book to be released by way of an art form. So this book was released in Delhi University, and many other people from Delhi were there. And we were preparing for this, creating this art form almost for 6 months. I was working with a Bharatanatyam guru, Swarupa Udgi, and a team of people. So if we get time at the end, and I think I'll save that time to show, it's just a 12-minute Bharatanatyam performance. And we say that one picture speaks 1,000 words, but one video can speak multiple thousand words. So I hope we'll get time. This is just a teaser of 1 minute, but I'm going to skip that for now because I hope to save time to show you the full video. Yeah, just a little background. I was born in a middle-class joint family, 25 people staying together, eating in one kitchen, because kitchen is the definition of joint family. And not only 25 people of family, but all the time we used to have at least 8 to 10 visitors staying with us. So it was a big thing. My house was in the heart of city, surrounded by all temples, Tulsi Bagh, Belbagh, Shanipar, all these are big temples. And diverse visitors at home, absolutely diverse visitors from home, right from top sports people to spiritual people, to science teachers, several people. I was educated in the Marathi school, called Nutan Marathi Vidyalay from Pune. And I grew up in the family with listening stories from my grandfather every night, and that's how I could learn what was our history. And also reading Bhagavad Gita, Patanjali, Osho. Why I'm telling you all this, you'll realize little later. I did graduation in chemistry for Ferguson College, did masters in biochemistry at Ahmednagar. We used to go leave Pune and go to Ahmednagar because Professor John Barnabas was there. And at that time, I still remember when I was a graduate student, we used to get Professor Obed Siddiqui visiting Ahmednagar at that time. So as graduate students, we have heard Professor Siddiqui there, and Mahabaleshwar seminar, which some of your senior colleagues might have attended during those days. We used to be volunteers at that time. This was, I'm talking about 1979 to 82. Then I did my PhD from Hafkin Institute, and uh, although most of my colleagues, because at that time Professor Barnabas was working in evolutionary biology, so all were going into genetics, molecular biology, evolving fields. Biotechnology was not even on horizon at that time, and I decided to work on medicinal plants because of my own experiences at home. I thought that I should use my biochemistry studies to know what has happened when I tried some of those elements there. So that for curiosity was in mind. So I did that work. I'm not going to talk about that today, but someday maybe we will talk about it. And my work was more on earlier days discovering or using Ayurveda as a discovery engine to get new molecules or to make new formulations, natural product. And this was followed by 2000 onwards. I realized that discovering just or rather exploring Ayurveda only as source of medicinal plant is unjust. And this realization was, this happened due to several mentors. And one of the closest mentor is Dr. Ashok Vaidya. We miss him today, but he still inspires us. Dr. R.D. Lele from Mumbai only, Dr. Mashelkar, M.S. Valiathan, B.M. Hegde, Gururaj Motek, several of them. And they shaped our mind to look at Ayurveda differently. So we started looking at Ayurveda from basic principles point of view, not just exploring it for source of some chemicals, And that gave rise to the new field which you may have heard, Genomics. And this started in my lab in Pune, a very small lab, when we got first PCR on the Pune University campus, At that time, we were working on rheumatoid arthritis, and we had a cohort of rheumatoid arthritis patients, and we know HLA, DRB1 gene we selected, and we just did polymorphism study, and we showed in a blind study, we divided population 76 patients, in 3 categories under the supervision of expert Vaidyas as Vat, Pitta, and Kapha. And we showed that we were really surprised that the allele distribution was statistically different. Now, this was the first kind of a convincing evidence that came in support of Ayurvedic concept of Prakriti or Dosha Prakriti. And that has grown now into Genomics as a discipline, and multiple laboratories are currently working on it. During this time only, my association with Dr. Vaidya and Dr. Lele, Dr. Sharadini Danukar, we all were working together, and I was really fortunate to have them in my life. Later, I was also driving a program for CSIR under New Millennium Indian Technology Leadership Initiative, which was aimed for developing evidence-based formulations, And there I met Dr. M.S. Valiathan. And since then, the Ayurvedic biology, looking Ayurveda as a curiosity to further biological concept, was the interesting project. And one of the first projects under Ayurvedic biology was given to us for Genomics, wherein we did a huge whole genome study on 900 participants across world, multiple locations, and several papers you would see we have published. And not just our group now, there are multiple groups, including CSR, IGIB, and several others, Manipal University. So as I said, this book was first conceived on March. I still remember the date, and I mentioned that in the preface of the book, in 2003. And I was a bit of nervous to come to TIFR and talk about this subject, because I know that this is not a commonly discussed theme or subject, and which can be questioned, in multiple ways. But when I went into the guest house today and saw Ramanujan's picture there, I said, no, I'm at the right place, to talk. So the earlier name of this book was Home to Genome. As the book started evolving, I realized that the trajectory from Om to Genome is not correct. And I'll let you know, maybe we'll discuss that, why I thought so. And so when the book was actually published on 4th September 2024, the book name was actually reversed and it became Genome to Om. So that's how, and the subtitle was Evolving Journey of Modern Science to Meta Science. So there is some disclaimers, this book is completely agnostic book with no specific position. It doesn't prescribe any ideology. It attempts to provide authentic information and raise debatable points. It tries to raise more questions, but does not provide any specific answers. It tries to find meeting grounds for philosophy, science, and spirituality. It tries to describe spirituality as a search for meaning, purpose, and consciousness to accept that there is something greater than ourselves. It does not compromise value of science nor the purity of Shastra. It tries to empower readers to find their own answers. So, the idea of Omcene and Om way, which we have discussed in the last chapter, it's just evolving future of humanity, and it remains to be still articulated. It's going to be the next part of this. These are the foundational sources which I've used in this book. The first, when I was reading, while I was working in a lab, I was also reading Upanishads, rather rereading, because some part of it I had already read, and I got stuck at this Ishavasya Upanishad aphorism. It says, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevaya Shishyate. And I said, what is this Upanishad is trying to tell us? And when we try to know more about it, we realize that they are talking about Purna. And remember, Purna is not Shunya. Purna is not zero. It is something different, So they are trying to tell Purna concept in terms of the connection or interconnectedness between the self and the universal consciousness. So that was different. But then we said that, wow, this is something which is also applied to genome. Because what is this telling you? That this is complete, that is complete. If you remove something from what is complete, what you remove also has a potential to become complete, and what remains also can become complete. So this applies, actually, the same aphorism can be applied to genome. So from there, this Om to genome discussion in mind started. The second aphorism is Anoranya Mahato Mahaniya. Prajnanam Brahma. This also is this is one of the 4 Mahavakyas. There are 4 Mahavakyas in Upanishad, and Prajnanam Brahma is one of the 4 Mahavakyas. So we started asking, what are they trying to tell us? What is this Prajnanam Brahma means? Then Yat Prinde Tat Brahmande. This is what Dr. Ashok Vaidya, I clearly remember this aphorism was given to me by him, in terms of when we are talking about Ayurveda, one of the basic concept of Ayurveda also is this Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande, and also Purushoyam Loka Samhita. That's the first sutra in Charak Samhita. Lok Purush is also, everything is connected. That's what they are trying to tell you. We are all made up of Pancha Mahabhuta, and there is a correlation between them, interconnected by the consciousness. Then there are several others, Tattvamasi, Ayam Atma Brahmam, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Patanjali Yoga Sutra starts with this, So we try to really explore these aphorisms, try to internalize them, try to look at them from different points of view, and that's how the book evolved, And not only the Upanishadic aphorisms or Vedic aphorisms or ancient knowledge systems aphorisms, but we have also included scientists and thought leaders, what they are talking about this, frontiers in science, cutting edge technology, the philosophers and futurologists' thoughts, the industry and innovation, what is happening in this area, and the darshanas. These are the most important references which we have taken for this book. The Shat Darshana and the 3 other non-Vedic Darshana, including Charvak, Buddhas, and Jain. And this was our tradition, to respect all thoughts coming from everywhere. So even Charvaka, which was completely antagonist to their Vedic thoughts, was also equally respected. These are the inspirations. So Vedas, various Puranas, the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Brihatrayi, that is Charak Sushrut Vagbhat, the Shat Darshanas, as I told you, the modern and ancient philosophy, contemporary philosophy also. Then writings of Adi Shankaracharya, Swami Vivekananda, Raman Maharshi, Sri Aurobindo, Krishnamurti, Osho, and many others, as well as modern science and technological development. All that has gone at the back when this book was evolving. This book was, when the book first draft was made, we sent it to 40 different people coming from different walks of life, all over the world, not only from India, and almost everyone gave. And our request in the covering letter was, we want to know what they don't or did not like in the book. We don't want to know what is good about the book. So he just wanted to know which are the rough edges they could feel. And then we really worked back and forth to address them. Out of them, 26 eminent persons from India and abroad, they offered advance praise, which is printed in the book. And one of the first ones who offered his comment was, or praise was, Dr. K. Kasturirangan. You will also find in this book at the back cover, we have given all the 26 names and their affiliations. You will find many known names there, not only Dr. Mashelkar, but also Dr. Kakodkar, brother of Professor Suhas Sukhatme, who is also a very eminent medical scientist or physician scientist, earlier at Harvard, now at Emory. He is Dean of Emory Medical School currently. He has also given that, and several others, and they have given that. Guru Raj Mutalik, who is again my mentor, his age today is 97. He is living in Florida and actually runs like a Gurukul in his own house. And I go there and stay with him at least for a week every year. Professor Mutalik was the first professor of medicine at BZ Medical College, and he is the founder of medical genetics in India. After doing medicine, he did his postdoctoral fellowship at Johns Hopkins, getting medical genetics training there. And after coming back, he started medical genetics discipline at BZ Medical College. So he, although a modern or rather allopathic medicine expert, because of his family upbringing, he also is expert in all these Sanskrit literatures and Vedas and Upanishads. So he brings in that kind of a blend of modern or Western and Oriental knowledge system. So this book has 9 chapters, and I'll quickly tell you about each of these chapters. This on screen, what you see is my co-author, Indu Ramchandani. This book went into various ups and downs, since 2003, when I started writing about it, I used to write something, park it for some time. Co-authors, 3 or 4 co-authors were changed. When this book was evolving, I visited Cambridge University and had a close interaction with Professor Brian Josephson. You might have known him as the youngest physicist who received Nobel Prize during those days. And even now, Brian is very, very active. He's working, his current project is mind-matter unification. That's what he's working. At that time, when I met him, he said that he was working on origin of thoughts. He is basically a quantum physicist. So that time, I did not understand what he was trying to tell. And even today, I try to know what exactly this whole thing, what I have written. Let me also admit that although this book, you will find names of the authors, me and Indu Ramchandani, I must admit that this book has evolved, and this book captures all the thoughts and all the ideas of hundreds and thousands of people I must have interacted right from my childhood till now, So all those thoughts we might have been just a medium to create this book. We don't take credit as authors for this book. In the prologue, we have talked about modern science and meta science, because meta science is not a very regularly used term. It's not metaphysics. It is not, in this book, it is not metaphysics. It is not meta-analysis. But meta science, what is it? We have tried to explain that. Our position, what do we mean by meta science, in the prologue itself. And if we broadly connect jnana, to information and knowledge, which is broader, but just for practical, because many times we don't get exact English translation, so it is very difficult to express the exact meaning of the Sanskrit words. But if we connect jnana with information and knowledge, Vishesha jnana is specialized knowledge, which is what we call it as modern science. And then it comes to prajnana. Prajnana is science of science. It is something which is beyond science, and there the problems come in. So what do we really mean? So in empirism, we only are told that whatever we can measure, whatever we can see is true. And then there are two streams. One stream says that no, it is not true. It doesn't exist. Other stream says that we don't know. So I belong to that stream. I don't know what it is, because in science, all of us have seen that at one point of time, seemingly impossible things have been possible in science today. So science is ever evolving. So today we may not be able to understand. Maybe tomorrow we'll be able to understand. That's the position you'll find that this in this book we have taken. And we have said science fiction of yesterday is the reality today. The ancient knowledge might be a source of innovation. We are just saying that we should look at it as source of innovation. We are not saying that our forefathers were great, they were great, but we are not great, yet. We have to work to get that status, and their knowledge, instead of arguing whether they were able to really construct aeroplanes and fly in aeroplanes at that time, whether Pushpak Viman is a real or myth, whatever it is, but idea of Pushpak Viman 10,000 years ago, isn't it something amazing? 10,000 years ago, even making this idea. So there are several such ideas, even constructing word called Brahmastra also. Forget about it. The constructing of the word Brahmastra itself is something which we found that very, very fascinating there. So in doing so, we are not even remotely encouraging pseudoscience, being mindful of what Richard Feynman calls as cargo culture. So you'll find that throughout the book, we have very carefully tried to maintain that kind of a balance. It's a very thin line, very, very difficult, but we have tried our best to do that. We might have speculated, but not necessarily we have correlated facts and fictions. And we are also talking about there is a difference between anubhav and anubhuti. These are the two different terms. Anubhav and anubhuti are very profound terms, and to explain that, we have taken examples of some of the examples where we have taken, for example, Carl Friedrich Gauss. He worked backward. Results he intuitively knew very right in the beginning. Ramanujam accepted publicly that his mathematical insights were intuitively revealed. He worked backwards. And that's why I said when I walked into the guest house and saw his picture there, I was kind of a little bit relieved. So how to bridge intuitive insights with empirical validations, These are some of the questions. And you will find that in this book, we have raised many, many, many questions. And we have given information to find answers to these questions. We are not giving any ready-made answers to our readers, So we are today in a materialistic Anthropocene. MS 2020 Nature paper, many of you might have read, which actually reported that the total weight of human-made mass has exceeded now the biomass. And that's what they said, that from Holocene, we have already moved into Anthropocene much earlier than expected. And because my subject is more related to health science, we have discussed this case of health sciences, discussing about the similar kind of a materialistic approach in health sciences, how it is. In chapter 1, we are talking about evolution and marvels of science. In this, in the book, genome is not actually genome. Genome represents modern science, and Om is not actually Om. Om represents the ancient wisdom. So these are just representative terms which we have taken. And in the book, we have also talked about the various knowledge traditions in our own country. Again, this also I would give credit to Dr. Ashok Vaidya, because he only that time taught me that there are two different kinds of knowledge which exist in our knowledge systems. Apara Vaidya, which is kind of equivalent to empirical knowledge, and Paravaidya, which is a spiritual knowledge. So these two are very different. So we connect Paravidya with kind of a Pradhyana, and Aparavidya with the Vijnana. So humanity's evolution from Stone Age to Industry 5.0, we have covered in this chapter. Means many people have really asked that how could you cover such a large history in such a short time in such a packed bundle, chapter 1. But we have been able to really take care of most of the major scientific advances till August 2024. Technological breakthroughs also, including AI, robotics, genomics, nanotechnology, renewable, several we have taken we also have said that science by and large has been driven by Shadripu, and you will at the end I'm going to show you that 12-minute clip, which says that Shadripu, they are the basic reasons behind all this. There may be ego, profits, comfort, and science is not that much globally. If you see, it is used to satisfy our own ego, our own desires, our own positions, our own aspirations, and not that much for people or for nature. So that's what we have tried to show. In chapter 2, we have talked about perils of misuse of science also. And there are several examples we have given, and we have taken practically, if you read this first 2 chapters, you will feel that it's a complete review of scientific progress and its perils. We are saying actually we are heading towards 4th Big Bang. That's what we have mentioned. 4th Big Bang, we mean that the first Big Bang all of us know about the universe. The second Big Bang came in when Alfred Nobel discovered TNT dynamite, and he ultimately had to establish Nobel Prize for Peace. And the third Big Bang is Manhattan Project again, and Oppenheimer also had to go back to the Gita. So this is the connection from genome to Om we are trying to really explain. And the 4th Big Bang, we are saying that if we don't pay that much attention, the 4th Big Bang will be even more bigger and disastrous, which will come by combination of AI, ML, nanotechnology, biotechnology, and such other advances, which are coming up. Science in actually search of truth and universal well-being. It is not merely for exploitation. So this is chapter 3. We are talking about origin of cosmos and life. And we have given, again, so many, you'll find that in this book, we have given so many examples and so many references for this purpose. And Dr. Kakodkar was so kind to give me this picture. You will see Dr. Kakodkar actually standing here. And this is the Nataraja. Many of you, because those who are in this field might have visited CERN also. And there is a dancing Lord Shiva statue called Nataraja right there. Cosmic microwave background hum, what is it? Cycles of creation, Srishti, sthiti and pralaya, or creation, sustenance, and dissolution. So we are slowly introducing these concepts to the readers, and the relation, Pindi Brahmandi, what I talked about, the relationship between microcosm and macrocosm continuum, and exploring the interplay of consciousness and matter in creation. Actually, we also touch upon Advaita philosophy in this book in a very subtle way, the non-duality principle and the interconnected existence. Then we come to the next chapter, which is about what is life. These are the questions. Is it biological, social, spiritual? What are these dimensions? And we draw a lot from Schrodinger's life as multidimensional, biological, social, spiritual, and it's an interplay of genetics, environment, and consciousness. This is Prakriti and Purusha, which Ayurveda talks about, Purushoyam Loka Samhita. So that's what we are trying to bring in, and epigenetics as a samskara. The samskara is another profound concept which comes from, and what is that samskara? So now we are able to really discuss this over the background of epigenetic advances. Then the next chapter is what is mind, thinking to knowing. And Buddha said the mind is everything, what you think you become. So bridging brain, mind, and universal consciousness. Again, here also we have found lot of references and examples, exploring the nature of perception and reality. Here we'll see Anubhav, which is act of direct experience through intuition or instinct, but Anubhuti is entirely different. It's the realization and understanding derived from such experiences. The insights, what you call. The role of direct experience in transcending empirical limitations, and the evolutionary purpose of mind is survival and self-awareness. The modern neurosciences we have discussed, and the mind-brain connections. We have also discussed several other things like dreams, mind reading, time travel. You will find a lot of examples in this chapter. Then the chapter is Who Am I? See, essentially, these chapters are based on Upanishadic questions. Our Upanishads are based on questions, basically, and these are, most of them are Upanishadic questions. They may sound philosophical. They are philosophical questions, but they are also challenges to our scientific understanding. And knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment. That's what Lao Tzu said. Questioning identity, material body versus spiritual essence. And Jada and Chetana, these are the two concepts which you will find in that Bharatanatyam. And there are several exciting, interesting concepts, actually, which scientists should look at them from curiosity point of view to know more about it. Concept of kosha, for example, it's also a very, very interesting concept. Vedic philosophy, the consciousness as essence of existence. What do you mean by really Maya? Or Shankaracharya has talked about it, and how it can shape the perception of self. These are the questions we have raised. And we have also taken a review of what is happening related to brain research. And Vidita will have several questions and about this, but out-of-body experience. These are the terms which are not being used by any Swami, Baba, or Maharaj. Patanjali used it in terms of samadhi, but at that time we did not talk about it. But here, look at many top journals, they have talked about out-of-body experience. What happens, when you visualize your body, for you being outside of your body? What does this mean? Means, should we not ask these questions? That's what the discussions you will find in this book. Chapter 7, why I'm here? What is the purpose of human existence? It's explained like Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So what does that mean? What is the role of karma in shaping destiny and growth? We talk about the challenges of modernity, consumerism and loss of meaning. And remember, this purpose is not just Ikigai, which is today's a very popular book, but it's not just Ikigai. The purpose can be met with by different means, and one of the very, very powerful means for meeting your purpose, and purpose, everybody has different potential, and purpose of life should be achieving our own best potential. to the maximum extent. That should be everybody's. So that the way to go about it is explained very well in yoga. There are 4 different types of yoga, or 4 ways of yoga, and one can choose which suits to them. Whether it is Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raj Yoga. So what are they? We have discussed this in this book. And also the ashrams, what are they? Brahmacharya ashram or Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa, what are they? And what are these 4 distinct stages of an individual? What are they? So this we have discussed in that chapter. And purpose is not power, but liberation. That's what we talked about. And yoga, Patanjali especially has talked about it in great details. We have explained this, and in your way to achieving your own potential, or to liberation, or to moksha, there are several hurdles which are created. And these hurdles come to you when on the yogic path. They are called as siddhis. And these siddhis are actually not meant to get attached to, but you should get detached. And examples we have taken from movies also. For example, explaining this, we have taken example of Lucy. I don't know how many of you have seen movie Lucy. It's a wonderful movie, very well entertaining, and Scarlett Johansson's performance is beautiful there. But that gives a very, very sound message. And Lucy is completely yogic movie without acknowledgement to yoga. Like Matrix is also completely yogic movie without acknowledgement. Matrix ends with Shanti Mantra, but there is no acknowledgement also there. But Lucy actually, slowly, when her brain power, it's a science fiction, so forget about what movie is. But at the end, when Lucy disappears, the scientist asks Lucy, where are you? And Lucy's answer at the end of the movie is, now I am everywhere. So this is the connection between yourself and the universal consciousness. You become part of the whole universal consciousness. That is Pindi Brahmandi, that is Purusha Prakriti, that is microcosm relationships, And these siddhis are very, very amazing. If you see these siddhis, what stepwise siddhis which are shown on the screen, you will find that exactly in the similar manner, Lucy has been shown to receive different powers for her. Chapter 8 is about death and beyond. What is it an end or a beginning? And again, death as a natural transition, we have discussed about. We have discussed the biology of death also, and the philosophical aspects of death also. We have talked about near-death experiences, then the spiritual traditions on afterlife. We have talked about life and death as cycles of transformation, and reframing death as a beginning of a new journey. So these are some of the ideas which have drawn not only from Vedic knowledge system, but from all over the world. In this book, you will find that although Om represents the ancient knowledge system, so we have brought ideas from Chinese philosophies, from Greek philosophies, from various civilizations also. We have brought various concepts from them, and the interconnected web of life and consciousness. That's what we have discussed in this. So we are now slowly in the book coming to the last chapter. We are discussing about the transition necessary from meta science to meta society, and Anthropocene to Omcene. And Omcene, meta society, the term actually we bank on Kant's idea of the kingdom of ends, which pursues a world where all human beings are treated as ends in themselves rather than mere means to the ends of others. So this is what the kingdom of ends Kant had elaborated. We must recognize each other's intrinsic value and dignity. Our actions would be guided by principles of sustainability, mutual respect, and autonomy. This is what we call it as Omcene and the Om way. Today we are in a world where you broadly can classify world into 4 categories. The pre-consumerism, where they have low income, underdeveloped countries, they have a lot of time but no money. Example is Africa. Neo-consumerism, where middle income developing countries have less money and less time. Examples are like country like ours, India. Ultra-consumerism, which is high-income countries have good money but no time. Example is America. And post-consumerism, it's a matured economy. minimalistic lifestyle, which Scandinavian countries actually adopted early. They have both good money and good time, and Scandinavian countries are examples of them. And if you look at the well-being status, you will find clear correlation from good to poor in terms of the consumerism. So we are saying that we have to really recalibrate our trajectory. That's what we are trying to say. And therefore, we are saying that genome should go to Om to make this recalibration. And the last chapter is about unity in diversity and bridging modern science and spirituality for holistic purpose, or the vision of meta society. What we mean is aligning scientific advancements with timeless values, and science as a tool for unity, not for division, and genome as a metaphor of interconnectedness, Om as a symbol of universal resonance and peace, and give also call for unity in diversity to achieve optimal human potential. And the book ends with Gita again. And Gita states that we have two choices. One is Shreyas and one is Preyas. It is up to us which is to be adopted, and what we adopt or what we opt will decide the future of humanity. And that's what going to be the new subtitle. We are changing subtitle from modern science to meta science to the evolving future of humanity. That will be the next edition of the book. Everything will be the same except the subtitle and some changes we have done accordingly in content, very minor. But so Omcene and Om Way, the path toward universal peace and well-being, we have not articulated it in this book, as I told. And Om and Hum, means this is the Mandukya Upanishad. Mandukya Upanishad is the Upanishad which talks about Om in the most exhaustive manner. And Om, they say that this syllabus is all that exists. Everything that was, that is, and that will be, simply Om. And even that which transcends time itself is also Om. It's very complex to understand, I have not still understand. But how could ancient thinkers have conceptualized Om as a fundamental sound of existence without modern tools to detect cosmic vibrations? This is a question came to my mind, our mind. And recent astrophysical discoveries, Dr. Parag and you, many of you would know this. So what is this cosmic hum? And could there be a deeper framework to explore whether such ancient phonetic constructs were intuitive reflections of underlying vibratory phenomenon in nature? We don't know. So we are just raising all these questions by giving information. And we are ending this book that Homo sapiens we have. We are trying to evolve as Homo deus, but it is not enough. We have to evolve further as Homo spirituals. And for that, we need time to think. And therefore, this article you may have read in Nature, scientists need time to think. But why scientists? Everybody needs time to think. To us as authors, we have said that we feel that we are living in a thinking deficient society. We are not talking about those who are sitting here who deeply think, but as a society, school children also, we don't give them time to think. There is hardly any. So this is particularly book which gives or portrays the whole picture of scientific developments, talks about its perils, raises questions bringing from Upanishads, and tries to give some kind of a base for readers to take some position, take some stand, or search for answers to these difficult questions. I have some time now. We have time?
About 10 minutes.
10 minutes. So exact 10 minutes. If you really want. And this is what is the beauty of our culture and our knowledge systems. What you will see today in 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes it is, it took a lot of time. But the whole message of the book has been captured by a beautiful Bharatanatyam performance. So, yeah. He? Okay. Yeah.
मैं सिर्फ 3 घंटा आपसे मांग रहा हूं। इस 3 घंटे के अंदर मैं आपको एडवांस एक्सेल के फॉर्मूलाज के साथ एआई और चैट जीपीटी हैंड्स ऑन प्रैक्टिस के साथ सिखा दूंगा। हाई पेइंग सैलरी के लिए
There are English subtitles also.
ओम उदय ज्ञान मार्ग का लय है जड़ चेतन का। ओम परमात्मा का। ओम स्वयं की धारा षड रिपुओं का उगम स्थान। षड रिपुओं का उगम स्थान अज्ञान घोर अंधियारा है। षड रिपुओं का उगम स्थान अज्ञान घोर अंधियारा है। जागृत कर दे ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार। ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार। ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार। मार्ग चेतना का ले जाए कहते हैं अध्यात्म उसे। मार्ग अगर हो जड़ का तो फिर कहते हैं विज्ञान उसे। मार्ग चेतना का ले जाए कहते हैं अध्यात्म उसे। मार्ग अगर हो जड़ का तो फिर कहते हैं विज्ञान उसे। पर दोनों का गुंथन है। पर दोनों जुड़े नित एक दूजे से। एक दूजे का सहारा है। ज्ञान मार्ग उजियारा। ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार, ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार, जो है भीतर वो है बाहर, पिंड में ही ब्रह्मांड बसा है। अगर तुमने जाना है खुद को, तो तुमने सब जान लिया है। है भीतर वो है बाहर, पिंड में ही ब्रह्मांड बसा है। अगर तुमने जाना है खुद को, तो तुमने सब जान लिया है। चेतन ने जाना परमात्मा, चेतन ने जाना परमात्मा, जड़ ने परमाणु जाना है। जो परमोक्ष सहारा है, ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार, ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार, ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार, कर विज्ञान से आगे जाए, उतरे हम प्रज्ञान में। ये जाए उतरे हम प्रज्ञान में, शक्ति को सहयोगी कर ले, शक्ति को सहयोगी कर ले, हम मानव कल्याण में। केवल अद्भुत नहीं, केवल अद्भुत नहीं बना सामर्थ्य बसा इस कुंजी में। ये संकल्प हमारा है, ये संकल्प हमारा है, ये संकल्प हमारा है। षड्रिपुओं का उगम स्थान, अज्ञान घोर अंधियारा है। षड्रिपुओं का उगम स्थान, अज्ञान घोर अंधियारा है। जागृत कर दे, ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार, ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार, ज्ञान मार्ग उजियार
So that was it. And all these girls who performed, they're all students. And you could see that the theme of the book has been captured so well by these performances. And happening all this at TIFR campus meant a lot for us, because as authors, we wanted to really bring this point, that we need to keep our curiosity continuous and we should not close our mind for anything, be it science fiction or even mythology for that matter. If we are able to learn something from there, take back something, new idea, new innovation which can come out, we believe that the true leadership for science or for philosophy will emerge through such kind of a blend, what we call it as the blend or synergy between philosophy, science, and spirituality. Thank you very much. I thank director and Parag for organizing all this.
Thank you very much.
If there are any questions, we'll be happy.
Very well. Any-
Hi, thanks for nice talk. The philosophy that you were telling, these are all in our ancient books, ancient scriptures and Upanishads that you have mentioned. But isn't it in the current context, all those things are like the elitist idea? Even our current situation of our country, the scientific discoveries through, like, for example, the Green Revolution, those type of things are more necessary, isn't it more necessary rather than other philosophy? I'm not telling that other philosophy is not needed, but after some time, how do you balance, like what is your thought of balancing it? At what point of time we should look back and see what our ancient saints had told us? But given the time, where should we focus?
Yeah, no, thank you for that question. Actually, we feel that this is a time we should look at back. And we are not looking back just merely with a mindset of self-pride and past glory. That's what not is the intention of doing this, We will still, we believe that some of the ideas of the past can shape our future for better. This is what the argument we have tried to put it in the book. And we all agree and we have appreciated also the advancements of science, what you talk about green revolution. We have discussed all that. But there are different sides to this also. Those sides also we have tried to put in this book,
So how many people in our country knows this philosophy, like will realize, because their goal is different, their survival things is totally dependent on something else.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
not this philosophy.
I know. So this is what is the purpose of the book, to let them know that there are different ways to look at it. If you read through the book, you'll find that we are not criticizing either. We are saying that there is a need today, because today we are really standing at a very, very critical point of time, wherein why we have crossed so early our Holocene to Anthropocene, why that has happened and where is it going to be end? End, pralay or whatever disaster end will come, but why invite it early? Can't we really take a relook at our own trajectory, where we are heading? And shouldn't be the main purpose of all of us should be the universal well-being, the sustainability. That's what we are talking about. These are the questions we are raising. We are not undermining the discoveries and importance of research and importance of science and strength of science and today's situation of people wherein they are engrossed in today's living, today's survival. We have all that we have put it, but then we have said that let's take a pause, let's look back, let's think more. Are there any other ways to look at the same problems which we face today? For instance, you talked about green revolution. In this book, we have dedicated a couple of pages for this, and in which we have given several examples of excessive use of agrochemicals and the origin of agrochemicals and pharmaceuticals. These are all based on the data and information which is available. We are not saying that this is it. We are just putting that information together. But we have in the book we have clearly showed that the whole evolution of these chemicals are fallout of the world wars. So many chemicals which were discovered during the world wars, they wanted to repurpose it. So one stream went into agricultural, one stream went into pharmaceutical, and you could see that history of all those companies. Today's companies, you might see those gigantic companies which have come today in front of us, but their origin, you will try, and we have tracked back that origin in the book. So I would request all of you to just read this as a matter of curiosity. And remember, this is a book. This is not a science book. So we are not writing a science book. This is the book which we have taken author's freedom as well to some extent, but we have ensured, as I told you, that we are not crossing that line. Yes.
So in one of your initial slides, you had referred to scientific misuse, and I think you had cited a 2024 paper on the six-legged mouse. So from what I understand, that paper was more about studying the importance of a particular gene, which when mutated or
Correct.
absence of
Absolutely.
function leads to defects in limb development. So I didn't quite understand how that study.
No, we are just trying to show that if this could happen, six-leg mouse could happen, So anything can happen. And anything is possible today. If somebody wants to really make those changes, it is very much, and we are living in a vulnerable world, and so we have to be very, very careful about the ethics behind it, with the controls behind it, all this. So that point we wanted to put it before the readers, and so we have used that as a figure to show. And we are not saying that that figure was used for that particular purpose in the book, because here you just saw the figure. If you will read the book, you will understand the context in which we have put it further.
So in your last slide, there was this, you wrote about the importance of evolving to Homo spiritualis. Is it a reflection of Sri Aurobindo's man to Superman as in life divine, or I am mixing two very different things?
No, this is completely our own expression which we have talked about. And what we mean by going from Homo deus to Homo spirituals is from self-centric, exploitatory mode. We have to really look back and change our track. That's what we are trying to tell. But Aurobindo also we have referred to and we have cited them, but not exactly the same manner. Yes, please.
Sir, during the introduction, you said you are not compromising the value of science and you are not at all promoting pseudoscience, but you are quoting Upanishads as your foundational sources, and Aurobindo, Osho, and Vivekananda as your inspiration. These people has nothing to do with science. So these things are contradictory. So what I understood is this is a self-help book based on spirituality, which is that has nothing to do with science. So
no, this is your viewpoint, Many people
because
also have that kind
earlier
of
you
a
said
viewpoint.
you are not crossing that line, but how are you defining that line?
No, we are putting viewpoints together. We are not putting our own viewpoint there. We are saying that these are the viewpoints which are available. Some people think that science and spirituality are completely different. Some people think that science and spirituality can go together, and these are the viewpoints we have tried to put in the book. That's it.
But you quoted many scientists like Niels Bohr, Ramanujan.
Oh,
You quoted some scientists like Ramanujan, Niels Bohr, Einstein.
yes.
But you cannot quote the personality or belief of scientists. Like scientists are stupid,
No, we are.
You can quote the works, but just because some man said that I got structure of benzene from my dream, that does not mean that.
No, we have given the quotes from, and these are the real quotes. We have not given whatever we have given quotes here. We have a proper authentic references. So Ramanujan quote you can read. It is available. Ramanujan.
That's what I'm saying. You cannot quote the personality or belief of scientists. You can quote their works.
No. But what is to quote? That is our freedom as authors. So we have taken that freedom as authors to quote, and these quotes are not wrong.
The quotes may not be wrong, but
Yeah.
But
Carl Friedrich Gauss quote, what we have quoted in the book, that is an authentic quote, and
the content of your presentation and the title of your book is not matching. Like, what? That's what I'm thinking.
No, there could be several ways and several opinions about it. We don't accept that everybody should accept whatever is being put forward in the book, and that happens with every book, So we respect all the opinions, but we have to really, we are trying to say that there are various ways in which there are different ways to look at the same. So that's what we are trying to show.
You cannot call it as a science. Right?
No, that is your viewpoint. I respect that, but our viewpoint is
science is not a viewpoint, right?
No, science. We are not talking about. We are not challenging science at all. In the book, if you read, based on only some statements or some short lecture, it may give wrong impressions. So I would advise you to read the book in full context, and wherever you find that we have crossed this line, we'll be happy to take a relook at that. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree that it's certainly a good idea to find some inspiration from old books and from arts and influences outside of hard science. But at the same time, you also mentioned a lot about the consciousness, soul, what happens after death. And obviously, people have different opinions what could happen. But this went a little bit beyond the scientific perspective, in my opinion. And sometimes I ask myself if we as humans don't take ourselves too important. So, for example, you talked about this intuition and instinct. Now, if I talk with large language models or so, I must say sometimes they have much more intuition and instinct than myself. So do they have a soul, or how would I interpret that?
No, these are the questions we have raised in the book. Same questions we have raised in the book also. We have no answers for this today. But we have raised these questions, for instance, in what is death or what is life. We have today, one moment somebody is talking, next minute that person is declared dead. What does it mean? What has happened? These questions we should ask at least. What is happening? It is not only religious, it is not only spiritual, but it is also a scientific question. It's a curiosity-driven question. What is happening? So these are the questions which we are trying to put forward.
I think from a science perspective, that is
but science
answered. Also, I mean, there are some details that you don't know exactly, but I mean, when you're dead, you're dead. Yeah, I mean, And, okay, life goes on because some animals may eat you and stuff happens afterwards. But is there something like eternal soul, for example? Speculating about this, and I'm not sure science can
no, we are not
answer this. There's no
soul
scientific evidence.
No, in the book, we are not speculating whether soul or whether we are providing information, whatever is available. It is up to you, up to the readers to reach to this conclusion. We are saying that today science is bound by empirism. We believe that what we can really measure, what we can see, what we can, and what we cannot see earlier, we invented some gadgets for that. We invented X-rays, we invented different gadgets, we invented telescope, or we invented MRIs. To look at earlier that was not possible. Today it is possible. So in the book we are saying today we may think that these XYZ things are not possible. We don't understand. Tomorrow we might understand that because science is evolving. We cannot think of science today only in the closed box which we know today. That's what our point is. And which is debatable. And I respect that different viewpoints on this. That is fine. Yeah.
I just wanted, knowledge systems as they exist. And knowledge systems exist all over the world with a very different way of fundamentally looking at exploring nature. So if you think about indigenous knowledge systems as they have existed in traditional societies, for example, you can think about the shamanic traditions of the Amazon. There are obviously the traditions in India. There are traditions in the Chinese systems of medicine. There are multiple different traditions. And of course, they have their own lens that they bring to a problem. But the reason I was trying to say this is that one of the biggest challenges is to talk across the boundaries of knowledge systems. It remains one of the biggest challenges. So for example, when one is looking at indigenous knowledge, with reference to the gut. The reason I'm bringing this up is because we recently had a public lecture on the gut. The gut has now emerged as a major source of body-related inflammation and associated issues with chronic health-related things in modern medicine. But the gut has been in Chinese traditional medicine, in Indian traditional medicine, in multiple other systems, been the way of treating the body, the gut being the largest organ in that sense. And so I'm saying this as a broad question, that when you see people attempting to make the jump across disciplinary boundaries, to be able to have dialogue across disciplinary boundaries, one working presumption is a certain degree of respect for knowledge systems. And knowledge systems are diverse. They come from a variety of places. Some of them are verifiable, some of them are not. But yet when one is going across knowledge systems, the working presumption is a certain willingness of respect, which sometimes has fallen apart for indigenous knowledge systems. I work with serotonergic psychedelics. Psychedelics have been used by shamans for more than 8,000, 10,000 years. New knowledge with modern tools has brought certain insights which perhaps give us a more mechanistic understanding, but yet there is a real room for indigenous knowledge systems. Having your experience of working with Vedic physicians, Ayurvedic physicians, modern practitioners, where is the challenge point at having the ability to have a talk across knowledge systems? The reason I'm saying this, your book is an attempt to do this, but this becomes the biggest stumbling block because people come from disciplinary domains and will want to see it from their own lens.
No, you are very right, and it's a very good question. Actually, we are talking about two epistemic situations, and many times we try to really confuse with each other. And so, for instance, when you are talking about, and this we have experienced more when we were working in Ayurveda, that or even yoga. Now, for example, how do you really study something called prana? What could be the methodology to study that? Or same question came in how to study this dosha. So this genetic interpretation or understanding dosha is just one part of it, but dosha is not that all at all. It is much more profound and much more different than that. What many times we make mistake is we use the same tools of X epistemology for Y. For instance, for studying Ayurveda, if you use only the current pharmacological tools, I'm talking about from my experience, then you completely are in mess. You may not be able to come to the real conclusions, and that in Hafkin I have experienced it myself. And from that day, I was a completely changed person, because I could not, and there I learned that I have to challenge my own results. Means the whole set of animals were dying with a dose of a traditional medicine which I was given. I said, I refuse to accept that because I have consumed more than that, what I'm giving it to animals. No, something else is happening. So we changed the whole thing. So we have to be very careful how we use this kind of a mix match, or that's what the objection also for integrative medicine, which work in, we are not talking about mixopathy. Mixopathy is not something which is, but there is a need for integrative approach today. Because, for example, if you want a diabetes treatment, diabetes treatment is not giving metformin and insulin. Diabetes treatment is lifestyle modification and behavioral modification more. And there is enough data now in support of that. So this is, I feel that more and more such open dialogue comes between the two epistemologies, the more synergy will come and more innovative ways to study each other will also emerge. This is a beginning. We are just beginning to explore in this domain. This is unexplored. It was like oil and water. No, I don't know beyond my own domain. So that this book is one attempt to create some kind of a thinking in that direction. That's it. Thank you.
Datar, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, this is Vivek Datar. I have a comment and maybe a small question. The comment is that I think you made a statement somewhere that,
Professor Datar, can you speak a little louder?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Better. Yes.
Okay, I'm coming a little closer to the laptop. Okay, so I have a comment. The comment is, I think, the point that you made that, science is advancing and sometimes at a very rapid rate. But it is also important that we have the wisdom to use that knowledge. I think that is a very important statement that you made in while you were giving this talk. And that also reminds one of the atom bomb that, after the first explosion, the Manhattan Project, then of course some scientists went and developed the hydrogen bomb. And actually Oppenheimer was not quite happy with that development, because to create things which could even, wipe out humanity on this earth. So this is the difference between knowledge and wisdom to use that knowledge. Okay, that's a comment. The question was, do you have any, I'm sure you would have several, but can you give a couple of examples where ancient medicine has resulted in a, in something that we didn't probably understand well at the present time, but it has helped in developing either a cure or, something like that, helping improve our health. Of course, yoga is one spectacular example, I think, but can you give some more examples of actual things that were derived from, let's say, plants that everybody knew about in the ancient days, but that led to some advance?
Thank you, Dr. Datta, for that comment as well as your question. Yeah, there are several examples, and in the book we have actually mentioned several examples. One of the best example, which is again coming from Dr. Ashok Vaidya, reverse pharmacology, what he talks about, the whole discovery of reserpine, sarpagandha. Even today also Ayurvedic Vaidya keep on using sarpagandha in their own form. But sarpagandha for the isolation of that reserpine, that Siba Gaigi did at that time, so that the source of that knowledge came from ashwagandha. Similarly, even the UU2's discovery of anti-malarial drug artemisinin, that came from traditional Chinese medicine. And even today, means we have a data actually to show that almost 60% of the current drugs, they have origin somewhere in the traditional knowledge system. Today, they may be having a different derivative forms, but their origin has been linked to traditional knowledge systems. 60% of the existing drugs in pharmaceuticals. So we have explained some of these examples in the book, but there are several such examples which can tell us that if we look at these knowledge sources with curiosity, we can get in science some new ideas and some new leads to progress further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. And I will join as well, sir. Thank you very much for a wonderful lecture.
Thank you.
I request everybody to please join for a tea in